Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Aman Luthra, and today we're going to talk about the easiest way to help the environment. And the reason this is so easy is because it's not something you actually have to do. Rather, it's something not to do. We're going to talk about the problem with consumerism, why it exists, and what are the impacts. Not just on the environment, but also on your personal life. And we're also going to talk about how we can fix this problem. But before we get started, go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below. I make videos about climate change very regularly on this channel, and I know you don't want to miss out on them. So make sure you turn on your notifications as well. So to put it into perspective, let's imagine that you just bought a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. That takes about 1 kilogram of cotton. And 1 kilogram of cotton takes about 20,000 liters of water, which is enough to fill the tank carried by a truck. You also have to spray that cotton with pesticides and herbicides, which may be good for growing cotton but not good when they leak into the ground or into the trees nearby. You then have to put the shirt and jeans together and then ship them across the world and eventually to your home, which of course takes a lot of fuel. And of course, the more clothes you have, the more often you have to wash them and dry them, which means more water and energy. Now, I'm not telling you to stop buying t-shirts and jeans, but I think it's fair to say that a lot of us don't think about the environmental costs of the products that we buy. We think about how good the t-shirts will look, how these items will be helpful in our lives, and how these items may impress other people. While it's definitely important to cover your basic needs, a lot of us have items that we've bought and then never used again. You know, the United States has 5% of all of the world's people, but it uses 30% of all the world's resources. And guess what? More than 90% of the items we buy are either thrown away or never used again after 6 months. If we didn't buy these items which we don't use anymore, we wouldn't have to use as much water, land, and resources as we do, which of course would be extremely helpful for the environment. So the easiest way to help the environment is to stop being consumerist. In other words, we need to stop buying things that we don't need. And these are the things that we use a few times but then never again. But why does consumerism even exist? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Money. We live in a greedy capitalist society that will do whatever it takes to sell you something for money. In 2020, the global apparel market was estimated to be worth $1.5 trillion. Yes, that's trillion with a T. And that number is expected to go up by 50% in just 5 years. And the way they sell to you is by telling you that you are not enough, or that you don't have enough. If you buy these shoes, you'll look good. If you buy this car, you'll have an easier time getting around. If you buy this cell phone, you'll have the fastest internet speeds, and on and on and on. And you start hearing these messages so often that you start believing them, especially when you see them on social media and the people you follow start purchasing these items. And so you purchase them as well, only to find out that there was really no need to. So what are the impacts of consumerism? Well, we touched a little bit on this earlier, but consumerism takes a heavy toll on the environment, which only has a finite number of resources. We talked a little bit about how growing cotton uses a lot of water, but that's only one part of the story. Producing goods and then transporting them around the world creates a bunch of emissions. And throwing our items away also takes a massive toll on the environment. For example, did you know that most of the world's plastic is never recycled? That's because it's a lot cheaper to not recycle it. So it usually ends up in a landfill, or worse, it ends up in the ocean. If you want to learn more about how you can reduce your plastic consumption, check out the video in the top right corner. I'll also include it in the description. And e-waste is also a major problem. The US throws about $55 billion of e-waste material each year. And you have to remember that electronics have a lot of toxic chemicals like lead, which are dangerous to humans, soil quality, water quality, and so on. So clearly consumerism is not very good for the environment, but it also impacts our personal lives as well. In my opinion, consumerism is very much like a drug. When you open that package which just got delivered to your house, you feel good. When you put on that new jacket for the first time, you feel good. When you set up your new phone and start browsing, you feel good. But guess what? You only feel good for a short amount of time until you're back on the hunt for something else that you might want. And the cycle repeats itself over and over again until your wallet is drained. I think it's very easy to believe that having more stuff will make us happy, because that's exactly what the media wants us to think. But I completely disagree. Getting something that you want cannot make you happy for a very long time. I think long-term happiness comes from things like meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, and giving. So instead of thinking of all the things that I don't have, I give my thanks for the few things that I do have, which not everyone in the world has the luxury of having. I say thank you to clean water, healthy food, the opportunity to spread awareness on climate change through YouTube and the internet, and so much more. When I go on my adventures that you might see on this channel, I say thank you for the great weather, for the trees, for the creeks, for the rocks, and all the other beautiful things that I see on the way. When I give away my used items to people who I know can use them, I am grateful that what I give away will not be completely wasted. Long story short, there's a bunch of ways that you can become happy for a long period of time rather than buying new things. So instead of being a consumerist, I choose to be a minimalist, and you can too. Not only will you help to prevent a bunch of environmental damage, but you will also save money and avoid the toxic mindset of thinking that you don't have enough or that you are not enough. So how do we transition to minimalism? Well, there are really two steps. The first one, look around where you live and in your bags and figure out what you really need and what you really don't need. Is there a shirt you haven't worn in a year? Can you find an old TV? Consider giving these items to your friend or donate them to a Goodwill store near you. The goal here is to remove as much clutter as possible and figure out what you really need in your life. The less cluttered your space is, the fewer decisions you'll have to make each day, and that will also help you become more productive and less stressed throughout the day. And the second step that we have to do is simple: avoid buying things that we don't need. When you're going to go purchase something, ask yourself, am I really going to use this, or will it be thrown away eventually? Remember that the more we buy, the more money we spend, the more resources we extract, and the more pollution we make. If we aren't going to use these items, we can prevent all that environmental damage by just making use of what we already have. Personally, I only go shopping if I really need something, not to browse around and buy things on the spot. And I also don't really agree with the idea of shopping on days like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, or even Christmas really. These are holidays that are driven by consumerism, which, as you know by now, take a heavy toll on the environment and our brains. You don't have to fall for that scam. You can save your money, reduce your environmental footprint, and put your mental health in a better place. So yes, consumerism is a big problem. But like I said at the beginning of this video, it is one of the easiest ways to help the environment. Instead of continuing to buy stuff, we need to try to not buy things that we don't need. Even if we were able to stop burning all fossil fuels for electricity today and switched immediately to renewables, it would not be enough to start bringing down our emissions. But combine it with minimalism and the differences become very apparent. Remember, there is no single solution to stopping climate change altogether. It's going to require a lot of effort, and it requires actions on multiple problems that we have created. If you want to learn about some more ways you can help solve climate change, check out the playlist in the top right corner, and I'll include it in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe down below so that you don't miss out on any future videos that I make about climate change on this channel. And just remember, nature can live without us, but we cannot live without nature. Alright, bye everybody.